me first tell you what Android study jams are about. As in the first session, I have introduced you all to the Android Basics in Kotlin course. So in that course, there are around 6 units. Those units have different pathways, and we have to complete different activities in order to gain badges and certificate. Now, what happens in study jams is that we collect a group of people, and we all sit together and we complete these units one by one. Now it's like optional. You can do these units on your own, but it's always beneficial to learn in a group, because in a group when you learn you will get doubts together, or maybe you learn together, you share your knowledge, and then and the learning will increase. So if there's any doubt, we have Zian Ansari, our app development lead, on the chat side, and even I, Sayashish Kanchada, the ASJ facilitator for GDS CSRTC, will be assisting you with all the doubts. So what we'll do today is we'll learn the basics of Kotlin programming language. I have covered in the first session what is Kotlin, why we are preferring Kotlin, and we are using Kotlin as a programming language. I'll just recap it in just a few seconds. Now, Kotlin is used by around seven, like the top 1,000 apps in the world in the Play Store contain Kotlin, and even Google uses Kotlin as its official programming language. Being a GDSC, Kotlin has very good scope, and we'll focus on Kotlin because it's easy and it has a lot of scope in the market, and it's among the among the top 5 languages which is learned worldwide. Then we'll also get started with Android Studio. Now, Android Studio is an IDE. IDE, as you all know, is an integrated development environment in which we write our apps. In the third step, we'll be building our first Hello World app. As we all know that we have a lot of programming languages. With a lot of programming languages, there are a lot of Hello World that we have to write. And we'll be seeing how we can use our app to write Hello World. And one of the hands-on activity that we'll be doing today is building a birthday card app. So by the end of today's session, you will build a simple screen. Basically, there will be one screen where you will be wishing, let's say, happy birthday to Zian or Dash, and you can write your name and you can add your favorite background picture, and we can have a Q&A session in the end. So this is the Android Basics in Kotlin course that we'll be exploring, and this has around 6 units. We are going to explore the first unit, that is the Kotlin Basics for Android. And in this, we have 4 pathways. We are going to cover the first 3 pathways today. In pathways, there are lots of activities. So, like in activities, as you can see, there are 2 videos in the first pathway. Then there's a code lab, and then there's a quiz. By attempting the quiz and answering the questions, you will gain a badge. And you can take the quiz multiple times. It has no negative marking. It's just to test your knowledge, and we'll be also solving the quiz together. So as I mentioned, this is the quiz, and we'll be doing this as it comes along. We'll earn badges. So each pathway will give you some badge. In total, we have to collect 16 badges for the program, and by the end of today's session, we'll be completing and collecting 3 badges. So let's get started. We can start here using this Hello, I'm audible. Okay, can someone just tell me where I stopped? And I'm sorry for the network connection, guys. What was the last thing you guys heard? Okay, after the link, right? Okay, no worries. You got the link, right? I shared the link. Yes, I will just pin the. Okay, sorry, that's not this one. Yeah, I pinned the message again, and I start this. So these are two optional videos that this. Okay, so yeah, these are two optional videos which this pathway has. In this first optional video, they introduce you to the instructors. There are 2 to 3 instructors that will be running you towards the course. They are the developer advocates at Google, and here they will talk about basically the course. That is what we'll be building in this app. We don't need this, so we'll directly jump in to the hands-on. So for the hands-on, we have Code Lab, and what we'll do in this Code Lab is you will learn to create, change, understand, and run a Kotlin programming language that displays a message. So what we'll be displaying something like hello world or happy birthday or any message that we like. Now we will do this using Kotlin. Now this is an online ID, just like we have our like VS Code or PyCharm, and we have those are the IDs which we use in a local machines. But this is like a ID, online ID for Kotlin. This is called Kotlin Playground. I'll drop this link also in the chat box. So this will help you in running all your Kotlin program on cloud. I'll show you the interface. This is a very simple interface. This is your coding area where you can like write your Kotlin code. This is like the run button. If I click the run button, it will display the output that is hello world of this program. So this is the first program, and what it does is it is just introducing you all to this interface. And if you are running the green triangle, you will see hello world displayed on the output. Now let's see the program. What is this? Fun. Fun basically means function. Now in function, the name of the function is main, because every programming language has to have a main function. It is where the compiler starts to execute the program. These are the parentheses in which we write all the statements that needs to be executed within a function. This is the println statement where whatever we use to print, it will come on the screen. Ln means new line. So after hello world, if you're writing anything, it will come in a new line. And we use this in the double inverted commas so that whatever is written within it will be displayed exactly it is on the screen. If you're familiar with any other programming language, this will be a very easy exercise. And what this exercise is in the third one is to modify a program to say something like happy birthday. So if you just change it to happy birthday, it will just print happy birthday. That's how easy this one is. And it will tell you how it runs. You can even read it. And I've just explained everything mentioned in this text. Now extend your program. They're asking us to write few more lines and see what's happening. I'll show you like if I just so after println, if we are writing something like this, let's say there's 3 lines, and as I said, ln means new line. It will print everything in a new line. So similarly, happy birthday, first line, then a new line, Jhansi, new line, you are 25. Like this, we can print any statement that we want on the screen. Dealing with errors, as I said, if we don't have this double quotes, okay, so the compiler will get confused and it will go throw your error. So it's an unresolved reference because it doesn't know what Jhansi stands for. It's not a variable. It doesn't know. Like we have not even declared Jhansi something. But if you're writing it in double quotes, it will run just fine, and it just prints on the screen Jhansi. And this is basically the solution code at what we have run. And this is pretty much it. What this activity was about. We can just run like some changes, like having this line break or no line break, and just see what happens here. So if we are removing this and just keeping a space or adding a line break, ln or this one, both are same. So if you're writing this, what's happening is after happy birthday, there's just a space, so a space is getting printed, and after UR space, there's a slash n. Like this is a line break, so it goes to a new line, and it's printing 25. If let's say if we remove the print and add this at the start, this does the same thing of println. So this was what the first activity was about, and you can practice this. This was the first code lab which we did, which was write your first program in Kotlin. Then there is a create a birthday message in Kotlin. Make sure you sign in and do these activities. So what will happen is that you will get this progress. As the progress increases, you will get like a tick mark or a green mark that will say that you have completed so and so activity. So create a birthday message. Let's take this one also. So what we'll do here is we will create, like we will use to print birthday messages like happy birthday and a text-based picture of a cake and a banner. It's basically the same thing, but there would be some extra variables that will be dealing in here. So this the first one is that you are writing happy birthday text with extra lines. You're already five. Five is the best age to celebrate. We have done this, so we'll not see that. This is again some design of a cake, I'm guessing. So let's just run and see how it looks like. When we're using this, let's see what happens. So now what we're seeing is there's a top level declaration is missing. Why this is missing? Because you have not declared the main function. So you have to always use this whole thing, okay? You have to put all the lines in your main function and then run this code. So when you're doing a code lab, just don't copy paste and run it. You'll always face errors like this. Make sure you read this, what it stands for, and then execute it. So if I just run it now, it would run just fine. And this is like a text-based picture of a cake. In Kotlin, you can use this 2 / for commenting. If you are using a comment, so basically that line wouldn't be displayed on the screen. So if you are, just removing the candles, the first two lines represent the candle. So if you remove the candles, it's just a cake without candles. So this acts like a comment for you. So after that, they have added some lines. They have they have the function main. They have entered happy birthday Rover. Then there's a comment. There's a picture of text. There's an empty line again, and then there's some messages. Now what we'll use is what we'll learn is how to use variables. How we'll use variables in Kotlin. Now what this is like a statement that is VAL. VAL is a special keyword. This is a keyword. Now what you have to remember is that once you use val, val is like the final keyword. So when you're using val, you cannot change the value again. Okay, unlike the normal variables, when you're using val, if you set the age to 5, it will always remain 5. If you want a normal variable, that what we are regularly using in other programming languages, you have to use var. It is also written here. So a variable declared using the val keyword could only be set once. You cannot change its value later in the program. If you're using var, that is variable var, So that you can again reassign, like age is 5, then you can assign a re-age like 20 or 21, and it will be done. So when this is like just, this is the keyword, this is the name of the value, and is equal to assignment statement. 5 will go in the variable age. Now, if you want to print this in a print statement, okay, so you have to use this dollar and curly braces. Like even in Python, you must be familiar. There's something in a string interpolation, literal interpolation. What it does, it in inside println, all these are strings, right? So if you're just writing age, it will simply print age. But what if we are using age as a variable? Like we are using age as a variable here, right? It is val age equal to 5. So after that, when you're using dollar with this curly braces, you will get the value as you are already 5. Otherwise, it will come as you are already age, and that doesn't make sense. And again, if you have to calculate the age is basically like the number of years into 365, because 1 year has 365 days. So they are calculating it here, and then you can like print it. So already 1825 days or something like that. So 1825 days is the very best days to celebrate. That's the output of the program. So even here you can put everything, like the name you can put into a variable, so that you can reuse this program for any other one as well. It's not only limited, like let's say I'm using Rover and I've created an application, okay, and every time I run the application, it says happy birthday Rover. So that will not make sense, right? We want it to be flexible. So this is a good coding practice, that we use variables, and we'll just assign the name and the variable here. So let's see what the code should look like. We'll just take this code. Main function, we are given a value age, there's a name, okay, and what should happen is rover should be printed instead of this line. Then there's this beautiful cake that we have, this will print an empty line, and here instead of age it should print 1825 with the name as we seen earlier. And let's just run it. So yeah, happy birthday. You can see instead of name, it's called rover, and it shows the data as well. So our program is right, obviously, and this is how you have to use. You can like declare your variables to display this value here. This is what the third one was about. Now print a birthday banner with a border. So this is like just a banner, like they're using happy birthday Jhansi, and this is like a border. Now what they'll do is that this is like we are assigning it beforehand, right? We're initializing this. So we'll use a function to create this border. So first of all, what they're using is that they are just using a function. The function with the keyword is fun. The name of the function is print border. What this does is whenever this border is called, it will print this line. So there's a function main, and there's a print border function. When they are calling this function, function will come, it will execute, it will print one entire line, then happy birthday Jhansi, and again one entire line. So let's just see this one again. Okay. So, so what's happening is that this is the function, right? So this is a function call. When the function is called, it prints, it executes the statement within, and this equal to line is printed here, followed by happy birthday Jhansi, and again the function. As simple as that. So repeat a border pattern. So obviously in programming language, we have if-else statement, we have loops. So here, what this loop keyword is repeat. Like we have for loop, while loop, do while loop. In Kotlin, we have repeat keyword. So what we'll do is we will put repeat. This is the number of times you want the loop to be repeated and the statement which you want to be repeated. So what this will essentially do is it will print 23 equal to signs. So if we just take this one and replace it with this function right here, let's try. Okay, so there's a print, and then it should be print ln, right? So after this, that should be one more ln, and let's try now. This is perfect. So if you will go to count, then this will be 23. This is a 23 equal to, and this is how you actually declare a loop in Kotlin. You'll use the keyword repeat, the value, and you will put any statement in here, and it will do the task for you. Instead of here, you can also like put here that println, what we usually do. So even this is possible if you don't want to do this. This is the same thing again, right? We print patterns in this form. We put an equal to or a star, and we use nested loops. So all this can be done here too. Just take care of the syntax when you're coming in Kotlin. Like that, this is the same thing I just show you. They have used the println statement here, and it will print you this line with border. And yeah, if you wanted to just say change this, right? If you don't want an equal to, you want something like an percentage. So you'll just replace this. But what's happening is that we are like asking it, we are defining it by ourselves, but we want the user to tell what the design should be. So we'll use a variable. So here what they're doing is they are using a variable known as val border. They are assigning the value here. They can take it from the user itself, and then they will ask them to like take the value of the border. But then there's some error if you're just calling the border right here. So you can what happening here is that you also need to specify the data type of this when you are like sending the argument, right? You can't just say border. When you're telling it, you are passing some values, that is the arguments. You have to specify the data type. So what we're doing here is we are taking this argument with the data type string. So let's say it will be it will be something like equal to a percentage, and then repeat it, and the argument will be doing the same thing. We just see the last final code again, so you'll understand what's happening. Yeah, like in the main function, we are defining something like percentage, and then we are passing this percentage, right? Border stores percentage, and will pass percentage here. It will go here, it checks, it's a string, yes, so it will go inside. Repeat 23 times, print border. What's inside border? A percentage sign. So 23 times percentage will be printed. It will go to the next line, it will repeat, come to happy birthday Jhansi, and again repeat the same process. So essentially there should be no change. So it will print this one. If we are putting something like an exclamation mark, again the same thing. Exclamation will go in border, and it will print exclamation marks. This is the basic loop syntax that we're doing in this fourth one. So now what they're doing is they are printing actually this cake. Now even in this cake, even in this cake there are a lot of repeated structures, right? Like there are a lot of repeated equal to's or the slashes, this commas, a lot of at the rates to make this virtual cake. If we don't want to type or copy paste, we'll be actually using functions for this. So they have divided the cake into three parts. This first two is the candles. So this is like the print cake candles. Then this is like the top of the cake, and this is the bottom of the cake. So they have mentioned three functions, that is cake candles, cake top, cake bottom, and these have some arguments like age. So age is 24, so they will, I guess, print have some 24 candles, or have 24 top of the cake equal to and at the rates. So they have mentioned some function, In print cake top, age would be the data type int. If you're not putting this int or the string, it will throw an error. So make sure you have those. Then repeat age plus 2. I guess that's just what they are doing in here. They are seeing how much it will be printed. They are just keeping the alignment and equal to. Then in cake candles, they are doing the same thing again. They are just using these two statements. So they will be printing like a comma and like this standing line. And for the cake bottom, they are using age and layers. So there are around 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There would be 5 layers with age. Let's guess this is 23 or something. So there will be 23 at the rates with 5 layers. So they're repeating this, the number of ages, print at the rate and print ln. So because we have to print it both sides, right? In the horizontal as well as the vertical. So the natural approach is that we are using nested loops because basically it's a pattern. So we'll put a loop within a loop. So what they're doing is they're putting the number of layers. In each layer, they will print, let's say 12 or 14 or 13 at the rates, and then they want it to go to the next line and repeat for the next layer. I'll repeat what they're doing here. They're using a nested loop so that they can print this pattern because we have to go horizontally as well as vertically. So layer is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So they will go 5 layers. In each layer, there are, let's say, 12 or 14 or 15 at the rates. So here, this will print the at the rate and this will print the layer. And after each layer, there's a print ln so that after the 12 at the rate, you will go to the next line. And we'll just call everything. We'll call all these functions and print the cake. This is the final code will look like. This is the main function. We have the variable with the name age. They are the layers, and these are the function calls. In this, we pass age in the candles. Now, what the candles will be printing, like a flame, which is represented by comma, and the wax one, which is represented by a standing line. So this will print the candles. This will print the cake top, and then there's the cake bottom. This is the nested one, so it will print with layers. If we are running this, the cake is printed. Okay, so these are three functions that we use to print the cake. This is just like a really good fun exercise. And yeah, there is some troubleshooting part. If your page is not reloading, let's say this Kotlin playground is not reloading, you can press like shift reload or F5, something like that, and it will work again. This is the summary and done. So this was the entire pathway of this is the first pathway. Now I will just like to ask if there are any doubts. If you have any doubts, then we can have them right now for this one, and we'll have a quiz. So we can all do the quiz together. I'll wait for a minute for if there's any doubt. I have to log in with my Google Developer Profile. Yeah, it's recommended that to log in with your Google Developer Profile. In the first video, I showed you, like in the previous session, how you can build your own Google Developer Profile, and you will gain badges for this, right? So these badges will be added to your Google Developer Profile, and you have to collect actually 16 badges. That is the six. You have to complete 6 units with 16 badges to gain a certificate of completion. And with this Google Developer Profile, you can earn badges, you can display it on LinkedIn, and all your progress will be tracked by this. Hope that's clear. Any other doubts? Okay, so we'll begin with the quiz. I actually like if even you guys answer with me. So what is a program? So basically, what is a program? It's defined set of instructions that tells to print happy birthday. So if you can just answer in the chat box. If not, I will be providing the answer obviously. Is there any deadline to complete these units? Yeah, actually the deadline is around 29 December, but it's okay if you even complete it till 10 January. But after 10 January, even if you do, we can't provide you with a certificate. So what we'll be doing is at the end of this, let's say after this week or after the end of 29th, sorry, the 10th of January, we'll be giving a Google form and you have to submit your Google developer profile there. And we will see, we'll cross check if you have all the badges. If you have a badges, we'll be awarding you with a certificate under the tag of GDSC SLRTC. Okay, so yeah, so what's the program? It's a series of instructions that a computer system executes to accomplish some action. That's what we learn in the basics of computer science. Which keyword do you use to define a function? So it's fun, right? We are using fun main and fun print border, everything. Which of the following do you need to create a Kotlin program that prints a line of text? Basically, we have to print a line of text. I showed one error earlier on purpose. So you need to have a main function, you need to have curly braces, you need to have a call to either the print or print ln statement, and you need a piece of text that is surrounded by quotation marks. These all are needed. Even if you don't have a comment, that's okay. But these all are needed. If you're just calling a print or println statement, that will not work because we need a main function to execute the program. Okay, the fourth one is like guessing the output. So what do you expect this Kotlin code to do? So let's see. That's function main args with the array string. Okay, this is like a data type. And println these lines. So basically what it should do is just print two lines of statement, like print two lines of text. You can even copy the code and run it in the playground if you want to get verified. So yeah, it's printing two lines of text. You can just select print two lines of text. How do you modify this main function so that it prints a six-layer cake for someone's fourth birthday? So basically, we want to have a six-layer cake and someone's fourth birthday. So as I said, fourth birthday will come in age. So it will come four here. We'll replace this by four, and a six-layer cake. So we'll change five to six. So the correct option will be the third one. Set value age to 4 and val layers to 6. This double quote will not come here because it's not a print statement. We are just assigning the value to the variables. Now the sixth question. Which of this option correctly calls the function below and passes the valid input arguments? So this is like a function and we have to actually guess the declaration, which is the right declaration. So the trick here is you have to actually look at the data types. So first, second argument is string. The third one is an int. So for string, you have to pass the arguments in double quotes, and for string, you have to just pass a number. So this one satisfied. I also say why the other ones don't satisfy because this isn't string. It doesn't have a double quote, and it's the int, so it shouldn't have a double quote. And again, they should have a double quote. This is the first one. If you submit the answers, okay, if you submit the answers, you will gain that the answer is right. So right now, wait, I didn't like it got refreshed and something. It got refreshed, but those were the right answers, and you will gain like the six answers. Okay, let's just try again. Okay, basically I'm not signed in, so it's showing this, but these are the right answers. If you have done it, it will be showing you that it has been done. If anyone has done it, can you just put like a thumbs up that you're getting the right 6 out of 6 answer? Okay, no worries. We'll just complete one more and then we'll wrap up the session. So this is the creating a first app. What we'll do is that we'll be introducing you all to Android Studio. So what Android Studio is Android Studio is an IDE. It's an integrated development environment. In the first code lab, what we'll do is we'll download and install Android Studio, which is actually the official ID that Google developers are using. So this is very simple. Just you will what you have to do is just go to Chrome. You have to go to this link. If it meets your specifications, you have to just check. So what we'll do is we'll click on here, and you have to just click download Android Studio. An exe file will be downloaded, and then you have to just click like the next, accept the terms and conditions, and it will be installed. Note that it's a heavy program and it takes some while to even download and execute. So take your time. And there is just a bunch of steps written at what to do. You'll have this interface pop up. You'll click next, and once it's done, you will have this startup page for you. This is basically download and install Android Studio. It's basically a simple, fair process. If you have any doubts, you can reach out to us again, or maybe write in a WhatsApp group if you face any error. Okay, so create and run your first Android app. What you do is you will be creating an Android Studio project using a template. Okay, so start Android Studio. So when you start Android Studio, it will look something like this. Yeah, this is the first one. When you click on it, you will come to this page, something like this. You have to click on start a new Android Studio project. You have to select empty activity. Then you have to give a name and click on create. Okay, so I'll just show. Actually, it actually takes a lot of time, so I already have it loaded, but I'll show you the steps. You go on a new project. It will give you with this interface. You have to select empty activity. Then you can give some name like your, let's say your first application or something. Okay, and also you can choose the minimum HDK. Like this should be the minimum HDK of a device that it should have, so that your app can run on all the devices. So if you're selecting something like Android 4.4 KitKat, so your app will run on approximately 99.4% of the devices. Once you do this, just click on finish and it will take some time. It can take up to 5 minutes or even 10 minutes to build and successfully build this screen. Okay, so this will be the screen that will be coming for you. And here, this is like the screen. Okay, so this is the Android Studio. So there are these different components. Okay, so this actually shows you the structure of the files. Then there is this layout kind of things where we can place widgets and text and buttons on our app. This is the component tree, and these are some layout functionalities. We'll be exploring this one by one. And this is the design area and the app implementation area. I hope all are with me. The next step is that we have to actually do some configuration, that we have to run our app on a virtual device or emulator. Okay, so what happens is when we are designing apps, so we want to see those changes in real time. So what Android Studio does is that it has this thing called AVD. that is a virtual device, Android virtual device. Okay, so what this does is essentially a simple mobile device will come, and this will be like the exact replica of a device. Okay, so this is like I have used this one Pixel 3 XL API 29 with target Android's APIs. I'll just show you how to do it. When you click on this button, then select the AVD manager. You have to click on create virtual device, and then you can select any type of device that you like. You can select a TV, a phone, a tablet, or there are variables, right? We have variables like a watch or watches or something, or automotives. So you can pick a phone, you can pick a model of a phone that you like that is available here. Okay, so Pixel 3 XL is one of the standard ones which people use. It will show how your app will look on a 6.3-inch screen. You can also like change this mobile application to see how it will look on different devices. Like Pixel 4, it has 5.7 inches, and you can just run around, play around. So if you take this, click on next. What you have to do is you have to select the Android version that your phone will be having. Probably choose the latest one. Okay, like I have what I have downloaded the Q one, Android Q. You can use Nougat, Marshmallow, Lollipop, Pie, whatever. Use the latest one because if it's supposed on the latest one, it will be better, right? And you have to click on download. Why Q doesn't have this download option? Because I have already downloaded it. So you have to just click on download and it will start downloading. It will take a while. It took around 15 minutes for me. If your internet is fast, if your system is fast, it can happen much earlier. And if you just download and then you can just click on next, give it a name, click on finish, and you will have this device configured for you. So the next time when you are actually running your code, okay, running your program, a mobile will pop up here. In that mobile, you can see the changes in lifetime. Okay, so that is what this pathway is about. You will create a virtual device. You will select Android version, Android phone, and run your app on device. This is the project files. Okay, this is the structure. So there's something called an Android Studio project. Inside this will be our project. Okay, let's say my project name was Happy Birthday. So in this we'll have these different files, and these files will be present for all your Android apps. Okay, these are like the Gradle builds, settings, and we'll see. I like explore one by one because now it will be just be confusing. So they're just saying that there is this structure of files and you can view it from this area. This area you can just use this to minimize and maximize this. These are some drawables. Drawables are images, layouts, values which you have set in here. So we'll be exploring everything. So this is like a project structure. This is the hierarchy. Run your app on mobile device is optional. I'll just cover it in 1 minute. So if you don't want to use an emulator, okay, sometimes like the program gets very heavy and your laptop can start lagging, and you want to actually see it on your mobile, that which mobile you have. So you can use this one. You have to actually enable something called as USB debugging. Go in settings, go to about phone, tap on build menu number 7 times. The developer options will be enabled, and after that there will be something called an advanced option, and just turn on the USB debugging, take a cable, attach it with your laptop, and then you can just that app will be installed on your phone and it will run on your phone itself. This is just something that they are showing. And yeah, when you will connect your device to your laptop, it will ask if you have to allow it for USB debugging. So yeah, just say it yes, okay. So you're given a permission, and then your device will come. Like this guy is using LG Nexus. I have a Realme phone, I have a Redmi phone or Samsung phone. So that will pop up instead of Google Pixel. So like this, instead of Google Pixel 3, one more device will pop up. If you have something like other device that will also work. And then this Hello World, let's say this is a Hello World app, right? So this will be installed on your mobile and it will be launched in your mobile itself. So you don't have to rely on some other emulator itself. You can always use a mobile for that. if you have some troubleshooting like for this, so they are given us some workaround like disconnecting or revoke and again should try again. Yeah, just some troubleshooting methods. And then there's basics of Android tests. So this is just like the structure again. They tell us about the structure, like what these contain. This you can read it in your free time. It's just a theory base. It has nothing very essential. So this was this create a first Android app. Let's just do the quiz quickly. What does IDE stand for? It stands for Integrated Development Environment. This is like a common one. You can search it on the internet. What are the following are the advantages of using Android Studios? An IDE can prevent you typos and other mistakes. Yes. It comes with a virtual device called an emulator. Yes, I showed you the AVD, so it has an emulator. It can show you a real-time preview. Yes, it can show a real-time preview. That's what we are using the emulator for. It can automatically translate your app into other languages. No. So an IDE will not do this task. Android Studio doesn't have this feature. So these three are the correct answers. What does the minimum HDK refer to in Android Studio project? So minimum HDK is like the KitKat one which we selected. It is basically the minimum version of Android that our app can run on. Okay, it's not a download speed or the minimum number of devices or storage. It is the minimum version of Android that our app can run on. What is the purpose of using a virtual device or emulator in Android Studio? It is basically to test our app without having a physical device because we might or might not have a physical device everywhere. So it's better that we have an emulator to see in real time whatever changes that we're making. Fifth one, what is a project template good for? So we use an empty project template, right? There are a lot of other project templates as well. So like we can use these templates. These are already built templates. This template has a plus icon with it. This has some navigation, bottom navigation active with it. Then there is a map activity already embedded in your project template. You already have a template for login. So these are basically, the different templates so that you can begin building your project much faster and easier. This is the navigation menu, responsive activity, scrolling activity. If you don't, you can choose this also when you are a little advanced. Right now we're using an empty activity so that we can customize it any way we want. So what a project template is good for? It makes getting started faster. It provides a structure that follows the best practices, and it makes building a new app less error prone by pre-populating the code with some app code. So nothing like that. There will be no faster download of files, but it is not the only way to build apps or preview. So yeah, these three are the right option. Sixth one is how do you create a new project? So how you can create a new project? If you have a project already open, file, new project, like I show here, right? File, new project. This is one of the ways. And the second way is if you are starting it for the first time, or starting it by clicking here, like Android Studio, when you're typing this, right? It will come to the first screen. So this one, welcome, click start a new Android Studio project. So B and C both are the right answers. We select this, and maybe it will not work because I have not signed in. But yeah, these are the right answers. If you do this, then you'll get a 6 on 6 and you'll gain a badge again. This was the second pathway that these two activities will give you two badges. And if you have any doubt, please add it in the chat box. Okay, so should we go for the next unit? Like I'm asking you three guys like Anurag, Nilesh, and Dianshu. If you want, we can just complete one more unit in some 5 to 10 minutes, or wrap up the session. If you guys can just answer in the comment section. Okay, Nilesh says go ahead. Okay, it's not a big one. I'll just do that. Okay, thank you, Rianshu. Thank you, Nilesh. This is not a very big unit, and this will be actually interesting part, that building a basic layout. Okay, how we'll add images and text to Android apps. Okay, so first of all, what I'll also show is that this is your Hello World app, right? So this is what your app will be displaying. If you just maximize it, it has the letters or the text which says Hello World. So basically, your app will be using Hello World. If you use this and you put this run button, I'm not clicking it right now because my computer starts to lag, but essentially, trust me, it will print a Hello World in your screen. Okay, and now we'll be designing a birthday card app. So let's see, let's take the code lab. In this one, we'll be creating a birthday card app. This will be a screen. This is the name of a project, that is birthday card. We'll be writing this text, okay? Happy birthday, Sam, from Emma, and we'll be having it in the top left, bottom right corner. This is the app that we'll be developing in this pathway or this one, okay? And then we'll also add some images and interactivity, that is a later on stage. The same steps you have to follow. You have to go to start, create a new Kotlin project. You have to use the empty activity, select the minimum SDK of KitKat 4.4. You can use any other, but KitKat is recommended. After that, you just click next, 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 and finish. It will take a while to finish, like the building the Gradle process. And when you run the app, like after finishing, it will come to something like this. And when you click on this, your app will be finished and it will be displaying this screen. Like happy birthday is the name of our app, and this is the value of the text that we have, hello world. So this is a value, right? So when you're clicking on this, you will see that something changed here. Like if you are clicking on this, something changes here. What happens is, this is a text view. We learn what a text view is. It has a text view, means it is basically displaying a text. The text is hello world, right? If I want to say, let's say happy birthday, and just save it. So what this will do is, it changes to happy birthday. So right now you can see it has changed from hello world to happy birthday. So this is what the text view does. These have some different attributes. So there's like the width, height, constraints, and there are some other attributes as well, like the text appearance. Okay, so you can even change. Obviously, you can change the size, the color, the font style. Everything can be done from here. These are the attributes. Attributes are basically the things that will beautify your text or something like that. These are the various aspects that you can do with the text. So let's see what is written. So in layout editor, you have to select text view, and yeah, they have just shown this interface. I use this plus sign to like zoom in. This one, right? It used to zoom in. This is used to zoom out. These are some ratios, aspect ratios, 1:1, and everything. Basically, so that you can navigate for an easier access. Now, as we saw in the app, we had Happy Birthday Sam in the top left corner, right? So we'll see how you can add a text view into our app. So here we have this palette. Now palette contains all the items that we need our app to have. So there's common, there's text, buttons, widgets, much anything which you want in the app. So in text, you have to select text view. Just to get familiarized with the names, like what is a view, View is basically all the components like text, button, widget. These are all the components that we have in an app. That is called a view. Okay, and these all views have a relation with something. Like this is our screen, and it has a relation with each of the sides. Like it's in the center, right? There's some relation that this might be some distance. Like let's say zero point 0.5. It is zero point 0.5 from here, zero point 0.5 from here, zero point 0.5 from here, and zero point 0.5 from here. Every view in the Android app has some distance or a relationship with each other. And all these views are contained in a container. This container is called a layout, and the most popular one like which you're using is the constraint layout. So what this constraint layout is, that it's a flexible layout. So this is very flexible, right? You can just, if you can drag it here, there, keep it anywhere, okay, it will come here and there. So this is a constraint one. So it goes to the bottom, it goes to the down. Right now what I've done is I've just deleted it, so it's an empty screen. So what we'll do is, after coming to text, we'll take this and drag it here. Put it anywhere for the moment. You have dragged it. Okay. So this attributes will come, this text view will come. Let's see what they're telling next to do. Now they're asking us to like see, even in the animation they have shown, they have dragged it, and you have to position this text view. Okay, like so it has some constraint with each other. Now you have seen these two errors. It's not horizontally constrained and not vertically constrained. What this means is that this is the horizontal, this is the vertical one, this is the horizontal one. So right now this is just a random position and it has not been fixed. You have to fix some position. So we'll click on this plus sign and we'll add some value like 16, and also add some value here 16. So these are in the form of DP. DP is some this is like a convention for Android. Okay, so I'll also show you what this means. So DP is density independent pixels. It's like centimeter inches, but distances on the screen. There's also SP which will be coming in. So yeah, as a baseline, 1 DP is around 1 by 1/68 of an inch. This is basically like the distance that we use in Android app. So basically this is 16 dp on to the top, on to the left. So now it's correctly placed. Okay, it has 16 dp from top, 16 dp from left, and the text view is placed correctly. So yeah, as I showed earlier, we have to change some text. We'll change the text here. We'll select this and we'll have some text here, something like happy happy birthday. Let's say my name Sai. Okay, so right now after I do this, it changes to happy birthday Sai. So this is basically the text design part, and it is asking us to put one more thing, one more in the bottom right. We'll do that one in just a sec, in just a few seconds. So the same thing, just take the text view, have it here. Okay, now add some values here, something like, again, if I put some, let's say 16, you will put any number, you'll get the hang of it when you're using. And put the name of the text from, let's say your, let's say my best friend or someone is wishing me. So I have this happy birthday sign, your best friend, and my name of the app was this one, birthday text. You can have any name. I had the birthday text, and when you will run it, right, I'm not running it right now, but yeah, when you'll run it, you'll have this happy birthday Sai from your best friend, and the name of the app. My app name is birthday text. You can have it anything. So happy birthday. This will be printed. Now this looks boring because it doesn't have some good, like it's just a plain thing. So what we'll do is we'll enhance it using text experience. So they have given us some instructions. There are different attributes. So let's go for text appearance. If we scroll down, we can see, like in all attributes, there are a lot of attributes here. If you can't find it, you can just even search here. for text appearance. Okay, that's what's the name. Text size. Okay, have to select this first, and then we have to like look for these attributes. So yeah, let's say there's a text size. Okay, now it's 14 SP. SP is another convention. So SP is basically like this is DP. This SP is scalable pixels. This is again the convention for font in the Android apps. So they have asked us to change it to 36, and that's what we'll do. From 14 we can change it to 36 SP, and just then select it here. And now you can see that the size has increased. Happy birthday size first had a 14 SP and now it's 36 SP. Font family. Okay, so we can change even the font family one. So let's see if we can just go to font. Okay, first to select. Yeah, font family. This is the sans serif. You can have other ones as well. They have mentioned that to use casual. This is a different, different style of having it. Happy birthday in a different one. You can have a different font family, and we can change it to. We can also change the text color. Text color. So if we are using this one, this is a simple black one. So again, I'm forgetting to select this. Yeah. So the text color you can have something like black or blue. Okay, blue, dark, light, everything is mentioned. If you're this is a dark blue, and so it changes to a dark blue color. Like this, you can customize your text and like play around for which what you want to design. And yeah, they have used this styles to achieve this. Happy birthday. You can do the same steps for the down one as well for the bottom right text. They have given a solution code for this entire project. Let's say you have not built it but you have want to run it, you can go to this GitHub link and this will have the entire code for you. So yeah, this is basically the simple birthday app. And the last one is to add image to your Android app. Right now it's very boring, like you just have some two texts. Okay, so we'll take this code lab. Here what we'll do is we'll add an image. We'll extend the happy birthday app to add an image. So from this, what we have to do is we have to click here to access the image. You can take any image. So what they're using is they're using this image. This is a cupcake. Okay. So this is a background image that we'll be adding to our app. So you can just download that image, then right click and save it somewhere. In Android Studio, you have to click on View, Tool Windows, Research Manager. Okay, so View, Tool Windows, then Resource Manager. So this gives us something like this. And here we have to insert this drawable, that is the image. We have to actually insert it here. So yeah, you have to click on plus, import drawable, and then you will have this image here. Okay, just a minute. Okay, so if we are using this plus sign, we'll use import drawables, and I have downloaded this. Okay, in my downloads, I have Android party.png. I'll press OK, and let's see if they've told us to do something. We have to just confirm. Okay, you have to just add this here. So here our drawable is there. We have imported the drawable into our Android Studio. Now what we'll do is we'll take this image and we will put it in our app. Now, like text view, we have something known as image view as well. So text view is for text, so image view is for images. Like that's the easiest way I can explain you guys. So for image view, what they're telling is that you have to go to, it should actually come here. Yeah, it's in common, okay. So it's in common. You can take an image view and just drag it here, and you can take this one, say okay. So right now we have imported the image and the image has come into the app. But as you can see, it is just floating somewhere. So you have to actually position it and set it as a background. How we'll do that is we'll use this constraints. We'll take the image, we'll place it like something here. Okay. So right now it's placed and it has a relation of 0 from the top and 0 from the bottom. So it has a relation. Earlier it didn't have any relation, it was just floating somewhere. Right now it has some relation. Here they have added 0 and 0 as the constraint. Let's try if we can do that too. Okay, so I'll just close this. Okay, here it's 0. We'll also add 0 here. So yeah, right now it's properly constrained. Our image is properly constrained here. Now there are some instruction like the image is now centered, but isn't taking the whole screen right. So what we'll do is we'll wrap this image. Okay, we wrap the image to take the whole screen. So we have to put the width and the height to match the constraint. These has some attribute, right? This is the right now wrap constraint. You have to match the constraint. So the width and height. When we are doing this, it matches, but now it's not visible. Let's see the reason. Um, just a second. Okay, basically you have to place the image, and there's a background type. I guess I missed one step. That's why it's not showing. And after this, you have to keep this on the top. Okay. Now what we have to keep this on the top is that so that this text would be visible. Okay. When the image enlarges, this text will disappear, and the image will be on the front. So in this constraint layout, you can actually put uh, the layers in order. So image view will go as the background, and happy birthday Sai and your best friend will come above this layer. Just a type of the background. I don't know why it's not coming right now, but yeah, if you just follow the steps, it will come and it will be displayed like this. What's happening here is that one more thing that which I mentioned in Kotlin, right? We're using a hard-coded variable like Sai or your best friend. They ask us to change it to a string so that you can reuse it again and again. So just you can fix the error also. You can like this is showing that the error is hard-coded string. You have to use something like the data type string and give it a value, a variable. So if I pressed fix, you can put a variable name. Let's say the variable name is name. Press OK. So there's a string name created right now. And how I can confirm that is if we go here project, if we go into values, right? In values you have the strings XML. So see, there's this name, right? The name has been replaced by happy birthday Sai. Now we'll do this again for the next, like on the bottom one. For this one also we'll try to fix this. You can just fix it right here. You can click on fix, give it like from text. Okay, this is a value, and after that you will see that this has come right now from text, and this is your best friend. So right now I don't have to like do again. If I say happy birthday Darsh, sorry, happy birthday Darsh, and I go to the activity flexible, it shows happy birthday Darsh. Likewise, this is a very good way to like write your apps by the use of variables so that you can change these values from time to time. And here the strings of XML contains all the values. So any value that you have in the app, you can modify it from here, and you can just run the app, and this is how your app will look like on your screen. Okay, then you can just run the app and it will look like a beautiful app. This image will be wrapped. That is just one thing I guess I'm missing right now. I'll drop it if you do. If even you guys face this error, I'll drop and fix this. Basically, you have to choose the scale type and do center crop. Let me try once again if it's happening. So it should work actually, but in center crop, yeah, so it worked. Okay, so yeah, basically if you do center crop, what it does, it enlarges the image and uses the center of the image, and you can just obviously change this colors and everything. QLOR. If we are just using a black one as shown earlier, see it's like happy birthday Darsh, and even this one you can have the font size changed. This is family. Let's say size. Text size, let's increase it to 36 SP. Okay. So yeah, so happy birthday Darsh with a cupcake and a best friend. When you run this app, it will come on your mobile phone or an emulator, and this will be displayed like this. Okay. This is basically what this model is about. This is the first app, that is the happy birthday app. And when you'll run it, you will get a beautiful screen mentioning the name of the app, the two text views, and the background view. This is the solution code on GitHub. You can always have the solution. And obviously the summary and practice on your own. So we have created our first Android app. We'll take this quiz, build a basic layout one. Okay, so which of the following elements is considered view? View, image, clickable button, text on the screen, everything is a view. What is the main purpose of a view group? So view group is like the constraint, which is a collection. like the container, right? It's a container for view object, and it is responsible for arranging the view objects within it. This is basically the constraint. Fill in the blanks, the type of view group that arranges the views inside it in a flexible way. So I told you that in a flexible way is constraint layout. There's an R here. Okay. So this one here, right here. Constraint layout is the one. You have to fill in the blanks using constraint layout. Which of the following are attributes, and which is the features? Yeah, that's text. Hello world, happy birthday, everything is text. The size which we change from 14 sp to 36 sp. The text color which is black, blue, and everything. In Android, graphic that can be drawn on the screen is a drawable. So we imported drawable. We imported the cupcake image that is a drawable. Sixth, which is an example of a constraint that could be applied to a view. Okay, so the answer here is that a view must be at a minimum distance away from the edge of its container. It should be like always to the right or the like topmost view. It has to be of the topmost view of the container, and it has to be right up on the view. You have to take this. This is like a theory part. So yeah, a view must be always to the right or like left of another view. It must always be the topmost view inside a container. Now, what is the purpose of activity main.xml file? Okay, I forgot to mention this is the activity main.xml file. This is where all this magic happens. This is the strings file which we have the value. This is the activity mains.xml, which comes under like this one: resources, layout, activity main.xml. So activity.main.xml it describes the layout of view groups and view for the screen. And the last one is that why we use string resources instead of hard-coded strings. The two mistakes that we fixed, right? It makes your app easier to translate if we are using to like translate an app from one language to another or use some other app. So this is a very good practice, and it allows you to reuse the same string in multiple places of the program. So for tomorrow, if you want to even write other messages such as the she's 21 years old, 20 years old, is graduating next year. So you don't have to write dash again and again. You can just use name, this NAME, and you can just put it there, and that will act as a variable for all your apps. So yeah, that's it. If when you submit the answers, you will get 8 on 8, and you'll also gain another badge. That was it from our sides. I hope you guys learned something new, and it was informational. It was intuitive. I'll just come back to the presentation once. Okay, so yeah, we started. Welcome back and congrats for completing unit 3 units with us. And if you have a question, please ask in the comment section. And yeah, one more thing, if you're completing all the 6 units and gaining the 16 badges, we'll be featuring you on our social media. So if you're done with the 16 badges before even our session, that's okay. You can just give your names into us or maybe Textagon or any one of the core team members, and we'll feature you and we'll give you a certificate right there. So stay tuned for the next session. In the next session, we'll be building a Dice Solar app. We'll be using this like roll button, and we'll be gaining some number. It's an interactive app that we'll be building next. And if you learned something, please share it with hashtag Android Study Jams. And these are some resources where you can continue learning. We'll drop them in the WhatsApp group as mentioned before. And that's it for this session. Thank you so much. If you have any questions, please drop them. Otherwise, we are good to wrap up. Is there any time limit to complete this unit? So yes, a specific unit doesn't have a time limit, but you have to complete these 6 units before 29 December or 10 January. 29 December is the last date, but I know it takes some time, but the last date will be preferably 10 January, but don't make it like later than 10 January because that is like the final date. Actually, the date from 29 to 10th is for you to build an app. After completing 6 units, you can build an app and you can give it to us. We will send it to Google. We have mentioned the guidelines in the first session. So if you make an app after learning, we'll send it to Google, and Google will actually has an opportunity to feature our apps. And obviously, we'll mention it in your certificates that an app has been submitted by you or your team. So complete these units with us or without us, but try to complete it by 29 December. If not possible, 10 January is the last date. We can't go any more higher than 10 January. I hope that answers your question, Anurag. Any other doubts from anyone else? Nilesh or Yanshu? Okay, thank you. Thank you, Riyanshu. Thank you, Nilesh, and thank you, Anurag, for staying with us for whole this program. And we'll have another session soon. We'll also be looking on how to deploy your apps into Play Store. So be tuned for that. And thank you for joining.